We've been joking many a times tonight, but he will fill you in on the joke, I'm sure. He is a Finnish...
Somali.
You're not Somali.
I'm Somali.
He's a Finnish-Somali director and writer who has directed several successful shorts, including 2017's Night Thief. He is best known for the directing an award-winning feature that is The Gravedigger's Wife, which he is also showcasing at Somali Week Festival across venues tonight. Tonight is actually the opening night for that, so you guys please go and see it. Round of applause. This is for you, my love. That's for you. That's for Muna.
Yeah.
No. Nothing, 2 seconds. Amazing. Next we have Muna Rumi, who is an A&R manager at Columbia Records. She broke into the music scene at the age of 16 with a self-produced radio program, and soon after went on to found music management company in Birmingham. Well done. Round of applause. In her current role, she specialises in spotting, recruiting and nurturing talent across the UK. Welcome. Next, we have Abdijaliil, who is a writer, translator, and blogger. In 2017, he published the book and has translated the works of Edward Said, Karl Marx, and Frans Fanon into Somali. He is currently working on Somali translation of Dr. Mohammed Aydin Sheikh's book, Back to Mogadishu, The Memoirs of a Somali Herder. Round of applause. That is nothing new. Thank you so much all for joining me. Welcome, firstly. What I would love to open with is a question for you all, which is, what are you currently listening to, watching, or reading that's inspiring your artwork or your work? Who would like to go first?
No worries. So what's inspiring me at the moment, music-wise? I really like Beyonce's new album. I think that's cool. I know that's a bit random, guys. But
no, it's not random at all. What do you like about the album?
It just feels good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feels good in your soul?
Yeah.
Great.
That's why. So, yeah, what else am I really inspired by at the moment? I think just life, really.
Yeah.
The people around me, my job. I find inspiration in everything, so...
Amazing.
Yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Khadar?
Boleh Makla.
Yeah.
So I am watching old African films by Osman Sembene and also Jibril Diop Mamti, and just to get an idea of what African history, cinema history was like. So I'm watching a lot of African films.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm a translator and a writer, so words inspire me.
Yeah.
Words from all over the place. Words from all over the people. From all of the ages.
Mm-hmm.
From all of the dictionaries, and so in a word.
Work is inspiring you.
Yeah.
Amazing. And today on this panel, we're going to kind of interchange between English and Somali. So sometimes we'll translate, sometimes we'll leave it as it is. The part of the panel we're going to now discuss is the intersection of tradition and modern Somali art forms, and how each of these artists actually kind of mold their culture and their current life into their art form. Let's start with Muna.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you kind of find that transition between your culture and your art form? How do you see that showing up?
I think, well, it's something that we have to deal with every day. It's a bit obvious. I'm a Somali woman. I'm a hijabi in a white corporate company, and especially because there's not many black people in these kind of companies, and women especially, and stuff like that. So it can be a bit challenging at times. But I think it's a good thing, you know. At the same time, like there's still advantages to it, because I feel like if I wasn't a Somali hijabi Muslim woman, maybe I wouldn't have got as further as I have in my industry. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of been an advantage.
Yeah, round of applause for that.
So, yeah. There's no one like me. Like, not to show off, not to show off.
Hey, show off. That's what we're here for. Shine light on you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Gentlemen?
So, can I go first?
Yeah.
I think the theme of the year is very interesting because for me as a translator, because translation, I see translation as a bridge between the traditional and modern form of art. To start with, the Somali society is in transition. We all know that the way people express themselves was in the old days mainly based on using the traditional forms of art, chiefly the orality of manso or poetic art. But today we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of October 21st, 1972, the day the Somali language got its official script. 50 years after, or half a century, we have witnessed a great shift towards writing. Even the poets like the late Khadar used writing to at least conserve their verses, if not to compose them. So what this means for the great societal reality, I argue that translators, as writers, can contribute to as a connection to negotiate between the traditional and modern forms of art by revitalizing the former and enriching the latter. We as translators are agents of both the source language and the target language. So we can be dubbed as the only good double agents. So and we are a monumental bridge that connects the past, the present, and hopefully the future. So as I said before, we deal with words, these tiny, fine creatures we call words. But translators try their best to make sure the exact contextual meaning of the word. You ask yourself some seemingly basic yet fundamentally deep questions about the word in question. For example, what is it? Or why is it used? How is it used? The context and historical background of the word, the cultural and ideological aspects of the word, the very nature of the word. It is epistemological etymology, the relationship between the word and the author of the source text. By going through this rather sophisticated process, you can successfully manage to get the corresponding words in the target language. So here where the enriching aspect of the modern art form comes in.
Yeah.
When you are trying to get the corresponding words between the target language and the source language, you are really doing you are acting as a bridge. So, and the idea of translation is becoming more and more familiar with the Somali readers' collective psyche since the publication of the first, as far as I know, the first Somali edition of Jidka Lomari Falsafada Runta in 1977, translated by Mahmoud Abdi Dunkal, which was a summarily translation of 2 books on philosophy in Russian. Our Somali translation itself in our libraries has becoming more and more increased both in quantity and quality. And during the last decade, and you know that in 2011, this Somali Week Festival had translation as its theme. We are driving towards translation as a modern art in an unprecedented, fast and fury-like speed. Why translate? One can ask. Why not? One can reply. Thank you so much.
Wow. I have so many questions for you, but Khadar,
I will be here for you.
Definitely.
I mean, you can't be that information. I was recently in Africa where I spent 2 months. And I was spending a lot of time at those spots where, older Somali men gather around, to drink tea and, share information and talk. And it was an incredible experience because I got to gain a lot of information, a lot of history, about these individuals. And so I'm always, listening. I'm always observing. I'm always talking, to people. So I get, a lot through that. That's my main, source of of connecting these two together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We all spoke about, each of you have spoken about essentially like taking what you started, whether it's Muna when looking at herself and what makes her unique, whether it's Abdijaliil who, you know, takes a language, or whether it's Khadar who takes what he sees and puts it into cinema. So there is a source, there is a location, and I actually really enjoyed what you said, which is, you know, the source and then the target, and, you know, that moving target and that language as target. For me, it's movement, isn't it? Like we're constantly moving, we're constantly evolving. And a question comes to mind for you always, if we're constantly moving, constantly evolving, how do you see your artwork evolving over time? Or how have you seen, actually, your artwork evolve over time, individually? From maybe when you started your short films, to now your feature, have you seen a transition of what you take as inspiration versus what you take as inspiration now?
Of course, you know, because as a human being, I'm always growing, you know, each day, you know, I wake up as a different person. You know, I'm always, like I say, you know, I'm changing, I'm evolving, I'm always experiencing things that I haven't experienced yesterday. And you know, it's with those, you know, elements that I grow, you know, that helps me, you know, first to change as a human being, and then through that, you know, evolve and my art. And yeah, and that also helps you see things from a different perspective, you know. So yeah, I think that's
amazing. What about you, Muna? Have you seen, obviously you yourself, you're a hijabi woman, you started, did you see that there's a shift in where you take inspiration from when you started versus where you take inspiration from within the culture now?
Yeah, definitely. I think more as well as I've gone older, I think that plays a part more. Like you get inspired by your culture, a lot of things, you know what I mean? So definitely, for sure, I do feel like that is the case.
Amazing. And for you, Abdijaliil?
Of course, because we as humans are constantly in transition. And when you are dealing with a world that's in transition, words that are in transition, you definitely, it's a reflection. You will become a reflection of the work you do. So you grow, and I grow as my work grows. That's what actually happens. And for example, when I have started officially started translating stuff and writing in Somali, it was back in 2015, 16. And now, when I compare the two, I can see that I've grown very evolutionarily.
Yeah.
If I can use the word.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And what strikes me is there seems to be a core of inspiration from all of you. Can you name a part of the culture or part of your life that has like made a huge impact? That it's, you know, that's the cornerstone of like, that's where I take all my inspiration. For me, example, I take a huge inspiration from Somali fashion. I enjoy seeing how we dress, how we present ourselves in every day, and that's where I take my inspiration from daily. For you guys, what is the cornerstone of the inspiration, or is there a breadth of things? Anyone, feel free.
I think for me it's Somali women, because I feel like we're just very strong, you know.
Yes.
We're leaders. I feel like we all just take inspirations from our mothers, you know? Yeah. And our mothers are like strong ladies and stuff, so I feel like that's for me, like, that Somali woman in me like strikes through, you know? Like Somali woman in me strikes through, so that's me, personally.
Amazing.
I think the greatest inspiration in my life is actually I'm with Muna. Although we don't share the same mother, we share the same identity. So my mother is the greatest inspiration in my life. Not only that she is my mother and she has every right to be respected. No, she is uniquely inspired me. She has uniquely inspired me to think freely, to think of myself as myself. And that is what driving me to this day and hopefully to the future.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I will say thank you, Mom.
I'm always inspired by my surroundings, by the people that I hang out with, the people in my life. Every film that I have created so far has been inspired. I've been inspired by conversations that I've had with my family members, with my close friends, with my colleagues. So I believe that you cannot force inspiration. You know, it has to come to you. You know, organically. You know, and I never go around, or like I never, think about. I never go around to think about what to write about next, or like force myself. So I'm, like I said, I'm always observing. I'm always open, to my surroundings. I'm listening, and that's how I get inspired.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hoyo Ma'an plays a huge part in Somali Week Festival. We and I 100% back that. Our parents have done an incredible amount for us to be where we are today, and I just want to give a round of applause to both the mum and the dads in the room. I think for me it's something that's become very prevalent in this conversation is that, and even backstage, we all have very different cultures in terms of, we have Somali culture, but we also have cultures that we have grown up in. For me, it's the UK, which is why my Somali is not great. We'll talk about that later. And for you guys, I can see there's multiple different languages that also play in part, and also countries that you might have visited. How does where you've lived or where you've visited and potentially additional languages have supported or actually potentially hindered your art form?
Can I go for it?
Of course. Yeah. Go for it. The translator's like, I'm ready.
I think every single word, every single language that I can speak of, I can read about it with it, and I can listen, has contributed a lot into my translation efforts, to my translation process. For example, if I get a book that is about to be translated, which is in English, for example, I also can read in Arabic. So I used to search for and Google for and search for the Arabic translation of that book, if any. So the greatest news as a translator is that it is available. When it says the Arabic translation of the book you are looking for is available. So, because when you are reading in one language, you are living in one life. But when you are reading more than one language, you are living multiple lives in multiple universes. So, and that has its impact on my work as translator and writer and stuff.
Amazing.
What was the question again?
So the question was, how does either by being bilingual, living in multiple countries, growing up in different countries, also contribute to your art form, or essentially not contribute, potentially?
Yeah, I feel like your environment, the languages, all of that, it subconsciously influences you in a way. Do you know what I mean? I'm from Birmingham, so it's the smallest city to London. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's completely different to London. So yeah, that inspires me as well. So yeah, I feel like it plays a part, definitely. And I only speak 2 languages, only Somali and English.
That's more than most. So
I definitely speak Somali better than you.
Yes. That rounds a round of applause for that. Well done. I think what I'd love to know is, obviously you said Birmingham is a smaller city. Like, what do you take from Birmingham specifically? What is it that you think this is what Birmingham is, or this is what London is, and the distinguish between the two?
I would say like Birmingham's a bit more like, it's just boring, it's quiet, it's chilled, we're in the middle of...
Is anyone from Birmingham here?
So I just feel like it's different to London. I feel like London, there's like so much culture. It's the main city, right? It's the capital city, so it's a bit different. But I think Birmingham's just a bit more chilled, relaxed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's Somali community there as well, who are very conservative.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Birmingham's just Birmingham.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Birmingham's just Birmingham. Khadar?
Mona has already said what I wanted to say, but I will add this, that your environment, plays a big part in shaping who you are. And I spent more than half of my life in Finland, and it hasn't been easy growing up in there. But, I somehow found a way to get the best out of the Somali culture and also get the best out of the Finnish culture, and then combine something that that was more like the person that I am today. I get the best of from both cultures and created this sense of identity of who I am today. And yeah, I think the environment that you are in plays a big part of who you become.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.